Salim could not maintain control of the area. A few years later, Ismail regained Tabriz. During the following decades, the Safavids tried to consolidate their rule throughout Persia and in areas to the west. The Safavids were faced with the problems of integrating various Turkish peoples with the settled Persian-speaking population of the urban areas. The Shia faith was used as a unifying force. Ismail made conversions to the Shia faith mandatory for the largely Sunni population. Many Sunnis were either killed or exiled. Like the Ottoman Sultan, the Shah himself claimed to be the spiritual leader of all Islam. In the 1580s, the Ottomans went on the attack. They placed Azerbaijan under Ottoman rule and controlled the Caspian Sea with their fleet. This forced the new Safavid Shah Abbas to sign a peace treaty in which he lost much territory in the northwest. The capital of the Safavids was moved from the northwestern city of Tabriz to the more centrally located city of Isfahan. Abbas adorned his new capital, a city with the latest Persian architecture. Isfahan became one of the world's largest cities with a population of 1 million. Under Shah Abbas, who ruled from 1588 to 1629, the Safavids reached the high point of their glory. Similar to the Ottoman Empire, administrators were trained to run the kingdom. Shah Abbas also strengthened his army, which he armed with the latest weapons. In the early 17th century, Shah Abbas moved against the Ottomans to regain lost territories. Several European states aided Abbas. The Safavids had some initial success, but they could not hold all their territorial gains against the Ottoman armies. Nevertheless, in 1612, a peace treaty was signed that returned Azerbaijan to the Safavids. After the death of Shah Abbas in 1629, the Safavid dynasty gradually lost its vigor. Most of Abbas's successors lacked his talent and political skills. Eventually, the power of Shia religious elements began to increase at court and in Safavid society at large. Intellectual freedom marked the height of the empire. However, the pressure to conform to traditional religious beliefs called religious orthodoxy increased. For example, Persian women had considerable freedom during the early empire. Now they were forced into seclusion and required to adopt the wearing of the veil. In the early 18th century, during the reign of Shah Hussein, Afghan peoples invaded and seized the capital of Isfahan. The remnants of the Safavid ruling family were forced to retreat to Azerbaijan, their original homeland. The Turks took advantage of the situation to seize territories along the western border. Persia sank into a long period of political and social anarchy. Persia, under the Safavids, was a mixed society. The combination of Turkish and Persian elements affected virtually all aspects of Safavid society. The Safavid rulers were eagerly supported by Shias. In return, the Shahs declared Shia Islam to be the state religion. Shahs were more available to their subjects than were rulers elsewhere. They showed great familiarity to strangers, remarked one visitor, and even to their own subjects, eating and drinking with them pretty freely. Strong-minded Shahs firmly controlled the power of the landed aristocracy. In addition, appointment to senior positions in the bureaucracy was based on merit rather than birth. For example, Shah Abbas hired a number of foreigners from neighboring countries for positions in his government. The Safavid Shahs played an active part in trade and manufacturing activity. Most goods in the empire traveled by horse or camel caravans, and the roads were kept fairly clear of thieves and bandits. Safavid Persia was probably not as prosperous as its neighbors to the east and west, the Mughals and the Ottomans. Hemmed in by the sea power of the Europeans to the south and the land power of the Ottomans to the west, the Safavids found trade with Europe difficult. Knowledge of science, medicine, and mathematics under the Safavids was equal to that of other societies in the region. Persia also witnessed an extraordinary flowering of the arts during the reign of Shah Abbas. Silk weaving and carpet weaving flourished, stimulated by the great demand for Persian carpets in the West. Persian paintings enjoyed a long tradition. Rizi-e Abazi, the most famous artist of this period.